And I told her the longer her hair gets, people are gonna not understand. Hi, I'm Nalie and welcome to the Nalie Show, where I help you beat your battles and be the best version of you. You must be wondering where I am right now. I am in Santa Monica, California. And you know what's funny? I've been getting a lot of DMs and comments and messages from people who are like, I'm so happy that you are cured, you're cancer-free now. They see me traveling, I'm really active, I'm doing well, and I like to think that I look good too, but I'm not cancer-free and I'm not 100% healed. I'm still doing treatments, and unfortunately, I'm still living with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. That being said, I wanted to take the advantage of being in the home, staying with one of my own personal biggest inspirations, Stephanie Seban. The way me and Steph met was through Instagram, telling me that she's been living with the same cancer as I for over 6 years now. And then I remember watching her Instagram stories of her climbing the same stairs we now climb together and being like, wow, if she could live with this and thrive with this, I can do this too. One thing Steph and I have in common is how we kind of feel really isolated with metastatic breast cancer. I don't think many people know what it is. I don't think many people get it. And those who have early stage breast cancer, it's kind of hard to relate to them because it's quite the unique experience. Hence why, despite the awesome adventures and everything there is to do in beautiful LA, I really wanted to take a moment to spread awareness, maybe reach out to other metastatic breast cancer thrivers out there who feel alone. So this video is a little particular. It may be specific to those with cancer, but I really hope you're watching this so that you know what it's like or what stage 4 metastatic breast cancer means, because it doesn't always mean that, you know, it's the end. At least me and Steph don't think so. So without further ado, please welcome my girl, Stephanie Seban. One year ago, Steph slid into my DMs, literally, when I had the recurrence, and about this time I was undergoing heavy-duty chemo. Right. And I remember you telling me, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. I've been living and thriving, and I was watching her via Instagram. She was thriving with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and now I'm okay. I have to say this in front of everyone. I don't think I would have had this positivity. I don't think I would be making videos today if it weren't for Stephanie.
Oh, don't make me emotional.
It's true. These videos wouldn't exist. The Nalie Show Season 2 wouldn't exist if it weren't for you and telling me that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Wow. Despite their, you know, what the prognosis may be. Right. And I remember watching her climb up Santa Monica stairs, despite her having a lung mets and me having the lung mets, and being like, oh my god, one day I'm gonna climb those stairs with her.
And literally yesterday, we went to the Santa Monica stairs, and it was such a triumph. Yeah. It was like, literally, it was almost to date a year ago that you'd then be in my DMs like, wow, I wish I could run those stairs. Yeah. Where are you?
So talk about anything being possible. Right. Believing, right?
Exactly. Believing. Literally like manifesting exact things that you want to do and watching them come to fruition.
Because here I am on her couch, sleeping in her bed.
In LA.
So Steph was on season 1 of the Nalie Show.
Yes.
If you watch that episode, you're gonna get to know all about Steph and her diagnosis. Also, she was in Montreal for the Nalie Show live. Something that we wanted to do a little differently today was talk about what it's like to now be living with stage 4 cancer. So I guess what I wanted to ask you today is, what is it like after almost 7 years now living and thriving with an illness where the prognosis isn't promising?
I mean, to be like very forthcoming and so honest.
Please
like,
be, it's the Nalie Show.
I'm so tired. I feel like I have been like dragged through the mud and beat up, and you know, I've seen my body go through like so many different changes. So that part has been really difficult. You know, it's like you always see yourself differently than the world perceives you. So on the outside looking in, I look healthy and vibrant, and I'm, you know, doing all these traveling and amazing things, but inside I do feel very tired. And I wouldn't say defeated, because I never feel defeated, but I feel tired. I feel the repercussions of going through nonstop cancer treatment for the past 7 years, you know?
Yeah. It's been a year for me that I'm living with the recurrence with like the whole metastasis, and I can already relate to that. So I can't imagine adding an extra 6 years, but how much of a blessing would that be to have those extra years and many more years.
We're gonna be old. I told her since day one, we're gonna be old and gray, looking back.
Old and wrinkly and grateful about it. How do you feel about that fact that you're exhausted? Your body feels beaten by all these treatments, but then no one really acknowledges it because you look great.
You look normal.
You look normal. Is that like something that annoys you, or is that something great because you prefer people not to know at the end of the day?
Well, it's, you know, there's two different ways to look at it. On one hand, I'm like elated and couldn't be more grateful and over the moon that I have maintained, you know, looking normal for the past 7 years, because I feel like I've had, you know, 7 years looking at myself sick in the mirror might play with my mental. But on the flip side of it, it's been very frustrating, because like I said, when you do get diagnosed and you're kind of on social media and meeting all these other people who have cancer, it's hard to identify with people. I created this blog and I'm reaching out to try and help other women and share my experiences and also hear about their experiences. And, you know, because I don't look the part, I wouldn't say I'm not accepted, I just don't think people understand what it is to be living with metastatic breast cancer and what that entails and what it looks like.
It's so true, and I could relate to that because, as you can see, my hair is growing back. I had a ponytail for our bike ride on Santa Monica Beach yesterday, and I was so proud. But it's true, the more my hair grows, the better, the more I'm healing, the more people are just like, okay, she's better.
Right.
But then I feel like these are the days that it's even harder, because you're just so confused and there's a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely.
Maybe there's no physical like changes due to heavy duty chemo and all the treatments, but like it's not over. Where are you right now in your cancer journey?
So I'm currently on full course of treatment. I take my hormonal injections. I'm not on heavy duty chemo, but I am on a pill called Ibrance, which is for heavily pre-treated stage 4 metastatic ER positive, PR positive breast cancer. I also take some other hormone inhibitors and also the complementary therapies. Of course. So I'm on a full course of treatment. I get my scans every 3 months. I go to the oncologist every 3 weeks to get my labs done. So I'm very much submerged still in treatment.
How did you feel when the doctor told you that it is incurable?
Honestly, I'll never forget the day that I actually went in to meet the oncologist. I knew that I looked like a hot mess on paper. I was like, on paper, I looked like one foot in the coffin. I literally sat outside the hospital and had a pep talk with myself. And I said, I already know it's going to be worst case scenario when I step foot in this door. It's in my bones, it's in my spine, it's in my breast and lymph nodes. I knew that I was going to hear the worst case scenario. So I made a promise to myself that whatever this woman told me was going to go in one ear and out the other. And I knew my truth, and no matter what anyone said, God or universe or source or whatever you want to call it, power was within me. And I made up my mind that I was going to beat this. So I remember walking into the first appointment, and you know, of course she was like, you need to start chemo immediately. Do you want to live? Do you want to die? And that she told me I had a 15% chance of beating this. And so I remember 1.5. So I remember looking at her and I said, so are you telling me that 15 out of 100 people beat this? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay.
Well, hey.
I'm going to be one of those 15. And she's like, you know, I like your attitude, but, you know, it was kind of condescending in a way. But I remember leaving there like, I had hope.
That's the key. You have, before anything, you have to believe. Anyone can tell you anything. I can tell you anything. Steph can tell you that you got this, but if you don't believe you got this, then...
If you believe that you're gonna do something and that you can do something, it's like the way of the universe. It has to happen.
Despite us saying that it's an ongoing journey and that there is no end to this, and like that's like the big difference between MBC and like early stages. Do you believe that there's going to be an end to this?
100%. A typical life expectancy for someone with metastatic breast cancer is 18 to 24 months, and I'm going on 7 years. And I plan on living till
Till we're old and wrinkly.
Yeah, old and wrinkly. I decided on like 83.
83.
In my mind, it's always been 83. I believe I'm gonna beat this. I believe you're gonna beat this. I believe that we are already beating this.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Right.
What we're gonna do today is what Steph and I pretty much do every day. Where we just vent and go all off about like what it's like to live with MBC, because we want you to be aware of what stage 4 cancer means, what metastatic breast cancer means, and maybe you're going through it too, so we want you to know that you're not alone. So that being said, here are 5 misconceptions about MBC. Number 1, no hair equals cancer, hair equals cured.
Oh my gosh, this has honestly been probably like the most frustrating part of this journey for me. And again,
yeah, because you never lost your hair.
Okay, so story is I always had my hair up until 5 years ago. And I did the harsh chemo, I did Nalie bean, I did like you name it, I did it, but my hair never fell out, which was such a blessing, you know? So as soon as I would tell people I have cancer, let alone stage 4, it's like you watch their eyes go from, oh really?
Yeah,
looking at their hairline and they're trying to figure it out, like, to come clean 2 years ago when I had metastasis to my lungs. I was getting lung taps done where they stick a giant needle through your back and they pull out the fluid, and because I was getting like really high dose of anesthesia, my hair started to fall out. But
what a way to lose your hair.
I know. It's like, honestly, it was so frustrating. It's like, are you kidding me? I went through 5 years of chemo
and now
my hair never fell out, and now it fell out from that. So I was left with like very, very, very minimal hair. So I have to come clean and say, any picture you see me post in the last 2 years has been extensions. Needless to say that for the majority of this journey I have had hair, and so people think that, oh, she must be healthy and well because there's no way this girl could have stage 4 cancer because she has a full head of hair.
I think what's cool about us doing this together is that we have both perspectives, because I had an early stage diagnosis and then I had stage 4 and I did chemo twice, and there's this recurring pattern which annoys me. As soon as my hair grows, everyone is just like, oh, well, Nalie's okay.
You're better.
She's better. So you'll even see like a decline on my social media where people start unfollowing me, people no longer engage with my content, people don't take my blog posts seriously when I start advocating about cancer, because they're like, oh, she's
healthy.
fine.
She beat it. She's fine.
Exactly.
Her hair's back. She must be better.
Yeah. So to break that misconception, no hair equals I am undergoing treatment, which causes hair loss, because there are some chemotherapy treatments that don't cause hair loss. Otherwise, if you do have hair and you do have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, it just means that often you can't even do any more treatments, right?
I do meet a lot of women with metastatic stage 4 who do have hair.
Number 2.
But you don't look sick though.
Oh.
Jeez. This kind of like ties into the hair thing.
Yeah.
But there are so many other components of this one.
Of course, like, well, you're not vomiting, you're not weak, you're not lethargic.
A lot of people say, well, stage 4, shouldn't you be in the hospital?
You're not hooked up to an oxygen machine. I want number 2 to speak to anyone who just got diagnosed with a metastatic cancer. You have to tell yourself you're not sick and you can actually live a healthy, happy life.
Absolutely. Last summer, I was at this rooftop thing in New York, and it was this really uppity, like, you know, breast cancer thing, and we all have a glass of champagne and we're cheersing. And this woman looks at me, and it was like literally all eyes on me, and she's like, how do you do it? Like, but how are you, you know, like, how do you do this every day? And I was really taken aback by that question, because I was like, well, what does she mean? I was so confused. And honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was like, I'm on a rooftop in New York City, I have an acute outfit, I have a glass of champagne, and I'm doing the same thing that you are right now. So like, how am I any different than you? Like, all we have is this present moment, and I'm doing the same thing you are at this exact same moment. I feel great and I'm having a good time.
That's the message I want to give to other women with metastatic breast cancer. It's that live your life. Who cares if you have spots? And I'm talking about those who feel good. And of course, unfortunately, there are those who will look very sick because they are sick and their cancer spread to their organs, where unfortunately, and not only that, treatments who affect your body. And we are really talking to women who feel good, who have minimal symptoms or side effects, and it's all in your head where you're just like, oh my god, I have stage 4, oh my god, I have spots in my lungs, oh my god, I have spots in my spine and my bones, but you feel good.
Right.
Focus on the fact that you feel good and then just live your life as you normally would.
Right.
Keep living. Number 3. But I thought NBC only happens to old ladies.
I mean...
I'm
38, got diagnosed at 31.
I'm 29, got diagnosed at 24. We're not an old lady. Well, we're getting there.
I feel like it sometimes. I'm like, whoa, this has taken a toll on me. So there's this misconception that stage 4 happens to older women or women later in life. And that is so not the case.
Yeah, I guess because stage 4 equals later. Therefore, you know, on a timeline of life, you would think that a later stage happens to women later on in life. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
But it's almost like these drug companies, and yes, I'm gonna say it, these drug companies, they form this perception around NBC is for older women. If you look at any of your drug pamphlets, like if I go get my eye brands pamphlet upstairs, it's all older women. And yes, there are a lot of older women with NBC, but I do believe that they need to do new campaigns to bring awareness that, you know what, there are a lot of women that are younger getting NBC so that we don't feel alone. Number 4. Stage 4 is the same experience as stages 1, 2, and 3. In no way would I ever, and I know the same is for you, belittle anyone's journey. This is not what this is about. And that's why I've always struggled kind of writing a post about this or even making this video, because I do not want this to be misunderstood. It's just bringing light to our situation and trying to make people understand that this is its own very unique diagnosis.
And you all know that the Nalie Show is all about struggles, challenges. The show is not about cancer on its own. It's to prove to you that we all face our own struggles, our own obstacles, and hard is hard. Our experience not worse than yours, your experience is not worse than ours, but
the experiences are very different. It's constantly being probed and prodded and cut and, you know, this test and that test and this new drug, let's try, you know, it's like you're almost like a lab rat. Sometimes I feel like that, to be honest with you. It's like I've been given all these new drugs and then I'm thinking, God, what are the side effects going to be to 7 years of like all these different things they've given me? It's like never ending. The doctor appointments are never ending. You know, my life is very affected by ongoing nonstop cancer treatment.
Yeah, I feel like NBC's just a very unique experience. One that's not portrayed by like breast cancer awareness campaigns. I feel like I'm kind of entitled, I'm gonna say it, I'm entitled to discuss this topic because I experience both. And I have to admit, and I tell you this all the time, it's like a completely different diagnosis. All I'm thinking about is survival. It's the first thing you think about when you wake up. It's like, oh my God, it's still in me. And
it's like
it's like a ticking time
dream
bomb.
Like a nightmare that doesn't go away. Number 5.
You are dying. I don't think I'm dying. I don't feel like I'm dying. Are you dying?
Hell no, I'm not dying.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, we're all gonna die someday, but like,
not now.
That's the last thing I'm feeling right now. I
feel
alive.
But people have the audacity to actually ask, like, are you going to die? Like, are you dying? And people really, like, have this pity for you.
I hate it when I tell someone like, oh yeah, they're like, okay, so what type of cancer do you have? What kind of cancer? What stage? And I'm like, oh, stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And then immediately they look like at you like you are like it's my funeral. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to offer my deepest condolences and sympathies to those who have lost loved ones with stage 4 cancer, because it is the truth. And I think in all of this whole purpose of speaking about it is accepting it. And stage 4 does mean it is the last stage, right? We said it before. Unfortunately, the reality is a lot of people do pass away.
I think one of the hardest parts of this journey is seeing a lot of women that have been mentors to me or that I've become close with past. I mean, that's been like very traumatic for me. You know, it's like kind of, you feel like last man standing sometimes, you know?
We were saying how we feel like we're so much older, like we are in our 80s already, because so many of our friends and our acquaintances and other women, they have passed.
Every story is so unique, right? You know, I need to be talked off the ledge sometimes. You need to be talked off the ledge sometimes. Like, none of this is easy. It's scary. You have these scary moments. And I think the best analogy that someone obviously told me this, is like, if there's a car wreck and it's the same car wreck, you sustain the same injuries as somebody else, but that person doesn't make it and you do. And it's just because, for whatever reason, like, this is your very unique journey, right? And that was their journey. There is a lot of loss with this diagnosis, and it's sad and it's hard and it's fucked up, but there are those who are thriving. You know, you can thrive with metastatic breast cancer, and you can live a long life. And like I said, my oncologist said, you know, if you're 83 and get hit by a bus and they find cancer, guess what? You still beat it.
Yeah. And I think that's the bright side as well of having shared my recurrence, because I was very hesitant to do so at first. Yes, unfortunately, I had to connect with so many women who I had to say goodbye to in the last year, but I've also connected with so many women who have been living and thriving with stage 4 MBC. For you, 7 years. I just met Faith. I know she's probably watching this right now, and she's been living with it for 14 years.
Incredible.
Nalie, who I interviewed in season 1, who's been living with it in even her 50s, so she's even older than us, and she's been living with it for almost 10 years. And you have all these stories of hope that do exist.
And these are the stories you need to hear. You need to be reminded that there are people who are thriving. You can live with this disease. It's ultimately in God's hands. I made peace with whatever my journey may be, but I have this like inkling that I'm going to live a fulfilling life.
Absolutely.
With MBC, you know? And you just gotta keep jumping through the hoops, and your life isn't normal, or it's not like everybody else's, and you have limitations, yes, of course, but you know, who doesn't have limitations?
And normal is boring anyway. And now we have a question for you. Did you have any misconceptions about stage 4 MBC before watching this?
And if you have MBC, did we leave off any misconceptions? Is there anything else that you've experienced that we didn't touch on?
Comment in the section below. If you want to follow Stephanie, her information is below, and you have to check out Thrive Gang. What is Thrive Gang?
Thrive Gang is a small company, startup company that my best friend Amanda and I started. And on this journey, we realized that for me personally, there was like a lack of gifts and stuff that I wanted to wear. Like being a cancer patient, I didn't want to be like a walking billboard. So we created a really small line of gifts. We have some necklaces. Mine says Survivor.
And mine says Thriver.
And we have some really cute gear and a lot of new stuff coming out to gift somebody when they're newly diagnosed with cancer, or something that you can get for yourself that is a reminder that you're never alone.
Yeah, I wear mine every day, so I'm gonna link it below as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to check out my vlogs, it's up there. If you missed the last episode, it's down there. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Be patient, be kind to yourself,
be your own advocate, and be a thriver.
Yay, preach. See you next week. Bye. What was it again?
Oh my god.
Old lady.
Yeah, you are an old lady forgetting number 3 already.